Hi, everyone. My name is Nolan Kitts. I'm a forester at the Snohomish Conservation District. Let me just hide this here. Is that good now? No feedback. Okay. And yeah, just to back up a little bit, if you're here, you've either accessed financial assistance in the past, or you're interested in doing it in the future. So there are a lot of programs out there. We heard from NRCS. I'll talk about what the conservation districts offer, and then we'll hear from DNR later. But yeah, it can be a lot at first, but hopefully you can learn a little bit more about what's out there. And then unfortunately, people from NRCS aren't here today to answer questions, but we do have a recording of that online. So if you are working through the paperwork, something like that, you can go back and look at it. And also, like Nick mentioned, conservation districts can help out, and NRCS can help out filling out those initial forms. So I'm just going to go over some brief history of the conservation districts, what our mission is, how we're funded, an overview of our programs, and it's going to be a little bit different based on the conservation districts, but we have some things in common. Eligibility for our programs, and then some of our related services that we offer. So the conservation districts, first conservation districts were formed in the 30s. Washington State passed a law allowing for the formation of, they were originally soil conservation districts, but our primary purpose is just to promote the conservation and sustainable utilization of natural resources. And as you heard Aaron mention, we were formed at the same time as NRCS as kind of like sister organizations. So NRCS being the national program that funds a lot of conservation practices, and then conservation districts are the local equivalent to work with landowners. So we are non-regulatory, and we're special purpose districts, each at essentially the county level. We are local hubs for natural resource expertise. Even beyond forestry, we have farm planners. We have people who do outreach and education, riparian habitat restoration. We have engineers. So a pretty broad range of natural resource concerns and expertise that we have. We are driven by local priorities and available funding. I'll get in a little bit to how we're funded currently, but we really try to, meet the needs of the local landowners and local communities. And then some districts offer equipment loan programs. Slide here. So a conservation district mission, we work across multiple topic areas, like I mentioned, and we are ideally poised to help with natural or multiple natural resource concerns. So if you're just a forest landowner, we can work with that, but also if you have combination of maybe farmland and forest land, or you want to do some river restoration, we can work across multiple areas. So just some of our services that we offer, like I mentioned, we do habitat restoration and enhancement. A lot of our farm planners work with livestock, nutrient management. We do soil, forest, rangeland health, natural disaster preparedness and recovery, irrigation water, stormwater management, and we do a lot of environmental education and outreach, putting on workshops like this to reach landowners as well. And then we also work in more urban communities, urban agriculture, but also more, backyard habitat, stormwater runoff, street tree planting, park tree planting, things like that. So it's a pretty wide range of services. So our current funding, the base of our funding comes from what we call rates and charges, and it varies by county, but usually there's essentially a fee attached to the each parcel and the acreage that goes to fund our core programming. But we are also funded by grants, and a lot of our forestry work is funded by grants. So at the moment, we have 2 grants that are funding more regional partnerships among conservation districts and our forestry program. So one of them is the Forest Health and Community Wildfire Resiliency Grant. And this is coming from the Climate Commitment Act, and it's through the Washington State Conservation Commission. We also have funding through the Environmental Protection Agency. This is for the Habitat Strategic Initiative lead, and that's for Puget Sound recovery and their estuary program. And that's also funding a Puget Sound partnership of conservation districts to work on forestry issues. And then there are a lot of other potential funding sources. One of them is the Regional Conservation Partnership Program, but each district, has other grants, and those grants will determine what kind of projects we can work on. But we're often looking for new grants to fund new projects and things like that. So the general forestry program overview, one of the main things that we offer is technical assistance. And that means it's a free site visit. A forester will come out, meet a landowner at your property. We'll identify resource concerns, whatever they are. It's whether it's invasive species, or you want to do thinning, or you just want help identifying, plants and what to plant. We'll identify what's available for implementation. We'll do more in-depth resource assessments, and then we help enroll in some of these beneficial tax programs. A lot of you might already be in the designated forest land or an open space tax program, but those are programs that reduce the tax burden and are aimed to keep working forests as working forests. So for financial assistance, the conservation districts don't have as large of budgets for financial assistance as maybe DNR and NRCS, but we do have what we call district implementation programs, or DIP, and that's if the district has a specific grant for something, and we'll work with a landowner, and that's usually a no cost to the landowner, or maybe very low cost to the landowner type project, like maybe planting on a stream or doing other types of restoration projects. One of the main things that we help out with, though, is preparing landowners for financial assistance or cost share at other agencies. So if we're working with a landowner and we think that they're going to be a good candidate for NRCS or DNR, we can refer you to one of those programs and help you with the application process in order to get some funding for a project that maybe we can't fund in-house. And then we also do a lot of outreach and education, like I mentioned, workshops like this, getting the work out. We've worked on some community wildfire protection plans at the county level, community wildfire assessments, that's in cooperation with DNR. And then field tours, workshops, things like that. We work with, the Washington Farm Forestry Association, Washington State Extension, Northwest Natural Resource Group, and others. Like I said, every conservation district is a little bit different as far as what they offer, but I'll just spotlight a couple of the program offerings, and then I can ask if any of the other foresters at other districts want to just quickly say what they're offering at the moment at their district. San Juan Conservation District is just releasing this program, or starting this program up. They've got two aspects to their cost share program. So one is a financial cost share program for individual landowners. So this is going to be a reimbursement of up to 75% of the total cost of a project, not over $3,500. And this is focused on wildfire preparedness. So it includes a free home ignition zone assessment. That's when a forester would go walk around your property with you, tell you what the risks might be, what you can do to better prepare, and then also forest health assessments as well, a little further out from the home ignition zone. So that's working with individual landowners. On top of that, they're doing wildfire risk reduction in high priority areas, and that's more at the neighborhood scale. So neighborhood groups, maybe homeowners associations, listed as high priority. They have a San Juan County wildfire protection plan, and they've identified areas that are high priority. So with this program, they'll be working with those neighborhoods to do fuel reduction treatments. So that might be thinning, limbing, brush control to reduce wildfire risk. And this is a free program for those eligible neighborhoods. So similar to the first one, this also includes home ignition zone or forest health assessment. And San Juan County is working with crews to complete the work. So for the second neighborhood scale program, it's no cost to participants. They encourage landowners to volunteer their time to support implementation, but it's not required. But they do want to, kind of foster the community support there. For Snohomish Conservation District, we don't have as formalized of a cost share program, but one thing that we are starting to offer is we're piloting this year as a chipper program. So we have a community conservation crew that we have a chipper that we can bring to a landowner or a group of landowners. And this is also aimed at wildfire risk reduction, but essentially chipper can take, smaller diameter branches, things like that could potentially be a wildfire risk, and we'll chip them up and leave them on site. This is something that we're just starting this year, and we're working with a few landowners in Snohomish County, but we're hoping that once we get the program going, we can offer it more widely. So it's another thing that if a landowner is interested, or we're working with someone who we think would be good for the chipper program, we'll get them on the list and try to get out there with the chipper. And then a couple other programs that we're also piloting, but could in the future be more of a formal cost share program, is potentially doing some pre-commercial thinning. Again, with our crew, this is for either forest health or wildfire risk reduction. And then we are piloting some afforestation projects, which is on landowners' property. Maybe they have an old pasture or farmland that they're not using, and we can do some tree planting there and convert it back to forest. So these aren't large scale programs yet, but we're hoping that they could develop into something that we can offer more in the future. I guess at this time, if any of the other foresters want to mention just at their districts, what things they're offering. Nick.
So for folks in Skagit County, similar to the San Juan Islands, we've had kind of a what we call like little bridge grants. So if there's costs that aren't covered by some of the other agency programs. Typically, we're talking about like plant protectors and other supplies that might help with planting and restoration projects. We are in the very, very early stages of getting some information together on a new maple syrup kitchen that's going to be available to folks, meaning they can bring their sap from their maple trees, and they can basically go in on a share of the whatever the syrup is produced. So that's kind of a neat little side project that's going to be run out of a location at St. Willie. Don't have any more details on that. That's kind of just getting off the ground. We have a biochar kiln. And so folks that are interested in kind of pursuing that as a woody residue or a wood waste treatment option, we're also going to try to make that available. Right now, we're just doing demonstrations. So like I said, there's a little bit that the Skagit Conservation District can do, but it's going to be on a case-by-case basis, and it's probably going to be limited in that dollar range. Probably pretty common, I think, across districts. So.
Hey everyone, I'm Colin McAvinci. I'm the stewardship forester out at Whidbey Island Conservation District. I don't have too much to add that's going to be different from your other districts, but we can help property owners out there with any of this financial assistance or technical assistance stuff. Probably our biggest thing that sets us apart is we're working pretty closely with DNR and the National Fire Protection Association to build out community wildfire resilience through these things called Firewise communities. It's a big push of mine. So if you or anybody you know is interested in developing like sort of community, neighborhood, HOA level wildfire resilience on Whidbey Island, I'm your guy. Give me a shout. Yeah, I think that's what I got to say. Thanks for coming out.
Good morning. I'm Josh Kursky with the Whatcom Conservation District. I'm the forest stewardship specialist there. We are just starting up our forest stewardship program, so it is brand new and not fully formed. However, we will be providing a lot of the same services, technical assistance, site visits, management recommendations. We will also be writing management plans for landowners, and those will be both simple forest management plans just to direct an individual's actions, and then the more complex forest management plans for other agency cost share programs. We will have a small cost share program through our conservation district, but the details of that are not fleshed out yet. And then finally, we do have a separate community wildfire resilience program that is in conjunction with Skagit Conservation District. And we do home ignition zone assessments, and we will be dipping our toes into that biochar project as well. Thank you.
Yeah, Nick reminded me we at Snohomish also are starting up a biochar program as well. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, so as you can see, they're all a little bit different based on the district. But you know, if anything sounded interesting, talk to your stewardship forester and they can get you plugged in. And we always have new grants coming in. At Snohomish, we also do a lot of riparian planting, and that's going to depend on the grants. But if you've been working with us, we'll keep you in the loop as far as what opportunities are coming up. Just really quickly to talk about eligibility, and this also is probably going to depend on the district, but just in a general sense, we usually work with non-industrial private forests. So that's, private forest owners who are maybe on the smaller side. We still have some pretty large landowners that we work with, but more on the non-industrial side. And then we'll also work with HOAs who maybe have green space, farmers with woodlots, or even just residential properties that have like a significant forest on their land. So, we work with a pretty broad range of people, but it's mostly the what we call small forest landowners. And then some people who own non-forested riparian areas might be also eligible for projects like riparian plantings and restoration, things like that. And then the conservation district, sort of like I touched on at the beginning, you know, I've just been talking about the forestry program, but we do have a lot of other experts who work at the district. So there are some forestry adjacent programs that we work on. Agroforestry is one. So if you're not familiar, that's either including trees in agricultural land, like doing silvopasture or alley cropping, but it can also be incorporating food or non-timber forest products into forest land. So maple syrup, like Nick mentioned, you know, mushrooms, foraging for that, forest farming. So those are some examples up there. Some of the districts work on this, so if it's of interest to you, also feel free to reach out. Urban and community forestry, so that's like street tree planting, canopy assessments, working in urban parks, things like that. And then pretty much all the districts have an annual plant sale. That just happened last month, but it's a good way to get plants if you're looking to plant. It's usually pretty affordable, and then it's also nice when you pick your plants up, you'll have people there. You can ask them questions about how to plant, where to plant, and just get that technical expertise. So I will leave it at that, and we have all of our contact information up there as well. But we'll also all be here afterwards if you want to talk to us. But if you also can go to betterground.org, that's sort of a landing page for all of the regional conservation districts, and you can find your conservation district there and request a site visit and get going from there.